Hello. This video is about getting your Oxford or Cambridge offer. So if you haven't applied to Oxford or Cambridge, this video isn't for you, so click off. But this is for those of you who have applied this season and you're waiting to hear back. And the message I want to give in this video is very simple. And that is, it's okay to be hopeful. It's okay to want to get in. And now that might sound really weird, of course you want to get in. But in this period, everyone, every single applicant, it's almost like a law, every single applicant is going to worry. Because if they didn't, that would mean the process doesn't really mean that much to them, and they probably wouldn't have even got as far as the interview stage anyway. But it does. And so we're worried that maybe we don't get in. We're worried, what if things don't go our way? What if maybe in that interview when we said X, we should have said X plus 3? And we have all these thoughts going through our head. And that's fine. It's a very natural feeling to have. And another thing is that maybe your parents, your teachers, myself as well, will try and console you and say, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you. Whether you get in or don't get in, I'm still proud of you. And there is genuine merit to that. But nonetheless, those statements shouldn't negate the fact that it's okay to be hopeful. It's okay to manifest this idea, almost fixate and fascinate over this idea of getting into Oxford, getting into Cambridge, studying this course, because I know a lot of you put a lot of time, not just into the whole preparation side of things, but into actually understanding and realizing that that is something that you wanted. You did not want to just be the average student going to an average university and not being pushed, not being challenged. You wanted to be pushed. You wanted to learn maths amongst some of the best mathematicians in the world. You want to go to lectures and go, wow, I've read that guy's book. And I know a lot of you put that time and energy into building that identity for yourself. And so it's okay to want that, because that's kind of why you applied, because you wanted it. And it's not as if that changes after an interview or changes after an admissions test. It might change for the better. It might mean you want it more. So in these last few days, I want you to be positive. I want you to think, what if? Not what if not. So don't think, oh, what if I didn't get in? Well, what if you did? What if I didn't say this, this, and this? Well, what if you actually did do well enough in the interviews? What if you did do well enough in the MAT, or step is still to come, or the TMUA, or whatever? What if you did do well enough to get in? And the reason I'm telling you this is because, whether you think this or not, just probabilistically, that's not going to change whether you get in or not. That has already been determined. That is written on a piece of paper or on some database out there, which I don't have access to, you don't have access to, but it is predetermined for you. That's not going to change. So, whether you worry about it today, worry about it in a week's time, your fate has been chosen. But the reason I want you to have this mentality of, what if I get in, is because for most of you, this is the first time in your life where you've actually experienced something of challenge. Because what is most of your life so far has probably just been academia, school, right? Maybe some of you have hobbies, maybe some of you, I don't know, let's say play football or play some sort of sport, and maybe you've been challenged there. Maybe you are really, really good at sport, but then you got to county level or national level in that sport, and that's where you start to face challenges. You weren't the best anymore, whatever. But for most of you, certainly academically speaking, this is probably up there with one of the most challenging things you've done. And this is the first of many. Take it from a guy who's older than you. Take it from a guy who's done the things that you want to do and gone beyond there. Because what happens when you're at university? Well, again, you're going to have a bunch of exams, assessments, but also thinking forward, if you're looking to jobs, you're going to apply to loads, very much like you applied to Oxford or Cambridge. And if you instill this mentality into yourself now about this, have this half glass empty mindset of, oh, what if I don't? What if things don't happen? Well, guess what? That's going to happen anyway. You're going to have failure in life. You're going to not get the things you want, and that is normal. That's absolutely fine. In fact, it's not normal to not have that. Imagine everything in life you didn't fail, you're doing well at. Well, it probably means you're not in the right environment. You're not being pushed enough. You're not being challenged enough. I could do 10, GCSE maths papers and I would get a full marks in each one of them. It doesn't make me a great mathematician. It just means I'm not doing the right type of exam papers. If I get 10, did 10 step papers and got full marks, that's a different question, right? And so you're going to experience failure. That's a good thing. That means you're being challenged. It means you're being pushed. And what I want essentially to instill this mindset as you, less so for mathematicians, but more just as young people, is you've got to accept that failure is a part of things that will happen. But it's how you approach that, knowing that at the end of the day, if we think of this from a binary point of view, you're either going to get into Oxford or you're not going to get into Oxford or Cambridge. And if you approach it with the mindset of, yes, I will get in, well, great, if you get in, amazing, win-win. But if you don't get in, you still had that drive to get in. Whereas if you approach this final stretch and you're kind of veering towards the no side, you're like, I'm not going to get in. I didn't do well enough, blah, blah, blah. You're always going to veer towards the no side. You're never going to want something. And you're never going to push yourself to try and strive and achieve that goal. So in these last few days, I want you to manifest this idea. And you might be wondering, well, Jamin, what if then I don't get in? Absolutely fine. If you don't get in, so what? So what? You had this goal and you didn't achieve it. That's good. That is a good sign of progress. This is perhaps the first time that will have happened to you. And it will feel uncomfortable. And it's fine to be sad as well. In the same way right now it's fine to be hopeful, it's absolutely fine to be sad when you don't get an offer. But what I want you to do is realize that actually getting in, not getting in, it's actually not that big of a deal in the end of it. Is really how we view it. If we view it as this binary thing that defines who we are, defines our whole future, and defines us as a person, and if we don't get in, we're a failure, that is such a rubbish mindset to have. But if we see it as, okay, I could get in, I might not get in, who knows? But if I want to get in, and I manifest this idea of me wanting to get in, and I don't get in, and I do get in, great, but if I don't get in, well then at least I wanted it. At least it was something that I did try for.